Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Monday, February 24th, 2020. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. You'll notice here the ES currently is down big here, opening Sunday evening down hard and continuing lower throughout much of the overnight and pre-market trade here. Since about 3 in the morning, we have seen a range develop at lows, kind of a rounded bottom formation a little bit here developing in the NQ. Nothing really here definitive, but the early signs of perhaps a low trying to develop here. And if that turns out to be the case, and if price can push through, for example, the ES can push through 32.66, that opens up quite a bit of upside here on an intraday basis, and by the end of the day, who knows, there could be a tail that's left behind, something like this. If that's the case, that could be a huge buying opportunity for a continuation, at the very least, back toward recent highs, right? Back toward 3,400 at the very least. And at the most here, it could push through those highs and continue higher toward 3,500 or beyond. Again, we do have the key range here that gives us some targets. So again, if we do break to the upside, 34.15 is the next upside major target here, and then you have the 34.94 level as the next target beyond that. So if this does turn out to be some sort of low here over the next day or two, there could be a slingshot up toward about the 3,500 level at the very least. Okay, so that's what we're looking at right now. Now, one key thing to keep in mind here is we haven't taken out recent lows. Here's recent lows here. We've gotten close here. We are back into the pivot range, not quite to the previous month's close. Again, that may be enough here for this thing to develop a tail. If it does, that could again be a nice bounce back up toward recent highs. Think something like this. That's the blueprint right here. Are we going to see an extreme reversal bounce back, or are we going to see some sort of rejection tail like this develop? But those two are the recent scenarios. We'll see how it plays out from here. Alright, let's take a look here at the NQ. Now again, the NQ looks very similar. We've talked about the trending nature of both the ES and the NQ here lately, how we've had a very clear uptrending market here, a very clear channeling behavior. I mentioned how price was at the upper end of this channel and could be on the way back down. And if we do swing lower, it could be another great buying opportunity. This is a bigger pullback than we've seen. This is a 3-day pullback. We've only seen a max 3-day pullback this entire move up since October. But overall, again, the day's still young, and we'll see how it plays out. This retest of the FOMC key level right here is very, very interesting. 91.38 is the level. We're bouncing off that level right now, and we are forming a bit of a low off that zone. So again, higher low right at it on an intraday time frame. That's going to be a very important level, because as we know, when these FOMC key levels go bid, they tend to come back to those levels, and if they are bid again, these things head again higher. So that's going to be something to watch here moving forward. Now again, if there's a failure here to establish acceptance back above 9,200 fairly quickly, then we could be, rolling right back down another leg toward 9K. So we'll see how this continues to develop. But right now, the intraday time frame is showing a bit of a rounded bottom, developing off that 91.38, which could be the earliest signs of a potential rejection developing. All right, let's take a look now at crude oil. Now, crude oil is having a very, very bearish session here. This one is down 4%. Big gap down below the previous session's low. That's significant, especially when you had a rejection tail here. That's left kind of like a hanging man here type of candlestick pattern, and we're now back approaching the 51 level. Now, this is very important right here. We're going to keep an eye on this previous month's close. That's the blue line right there. And we had the previous month's close price right there that was being defended. So that was the level that when we squeezed back above it, we were trying to keep the 50.60 level to about that previous low at 50.97. So basically between 50.60 and 51. Bid, it was bid at 51.20. Here we are again. Now that's the zone that, again, if it can find a rejection in this area at some point soon, we may be looking at another bounce higher. If it can keep 50.60 bid to 51, 50 half to 51, anytime over the next several days, if it stays above that zone or can stay above it on a closing basis, that could be a great bounce zone. If this is a failure here, this could get very, very bearish if price starts to push back below 50.60. All right, let's take a look lastly at gold futures. This one's up quite a bit here. Huge, huge rally. Big explosive move. We've talked about this potential here before, how this one tends to go sideways and then you see the big move, then a little bit of flat and a big move. This was a bit more flat. We got the initial explosive move when we talked about it here, and then we've gone sideways again with another explosive move. We have nearly hit 1700 now, reaching 1691.70. That's a significant move. This may be a near-term top at the moment, if it's because of the way it's exploded higher. You see how thin this portion is. At the very least, we may see some sort of reversion to the mean before it continues higher. But right now, the way it looks, we may be putting in a little bit of a top, especially if you take a look at the 15-minute. Bears are trying to keep the 1683 halves offered at the moment for a potential return, say back to 1660. 1660 is not too far off. It's about right here, and that could still be in play even today based off of how this thing looks. So keep an eye on this. It's very, very bullish right now, but on an intraday basis there may be a little bit of a pullback, reversion to the mean type of trade, but overall this thing is very bullish. Staying above 1600 is important. We could drop all the way back to here and still be a buying opportunity on a medium term basis. Alright everyone, that's it for now. We'll see how this plays out the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room.